Well, good day and welcome back to the Flying Doctor channel. Today's journey begins somewhere where you might see a little bit of sun, as you can see in my face. Might have got a little burnt. We're in Tenerife, or Tenerife, depending on which language you speak. It's an island off the coast of Morocco that belongs to Spain. And tomorrow morning, we're gonna be up very early in a different change of clothes, heading up to Tenerife Norte Airport on a flight with Air Europa up to Madrid. I'll be in economy class, and hopefully we have some nice views on departure out of Tenerife, and we'll see what the experience is like on board their Boeing 737. So if you are interested to see what that is like, I encourage you to sit back, relax, get ready for another flight review. While I get some sleep and a change of clothes, I'll show you some of the cool places that you'll be able to see in Tenerife.
Let's first start off with a little geography lesson. Located just under 300 miles from the coast of the African continent, Tenerife is the largest and most populous of the Canary Islands. The island has a variety of microclimates, from subtropical eternal spring-like climates to a hot and dry southern coast, and even areas that receive snowfall. I arrived in the north of the island and stayed in the south. If you're not interested in stopping, it would take between 3 to 4 hours to drive around the entire island using the main highways, but I'd encourage you to stop and enjoy some of the views. If highway driving isn't your thing, there are plenty of narrow, windy roads that switch back through the west of the island. On a clear day, you can view La Gomera and La Palma, two sister Canaries. We decided to visit Loro Parque, which is a pretty decent animal park. My favorite is always the bird exhibits, especially when you have aviaries you can walk in. Plus, I had a chance to catch up with some old friends. The Canary Islands are volcanic islands, so much of the coast showcases the power of the Atlantic Ocean pummeling the steep cliffs that meet the sea. There are some locations, though, where the ground gradually flows into the ocean where one can relax. Relaxing on the beach isn't usually my thing, and I think Mother Nature was encouraging me to try it after poor judgment led to my feet slipping out from under me, causing my head to crash onto the igneous rock. What's even more amusing is that after getting up and brushing myself off, I continued to walk closer to the shore and fell again. There's much more to explore on the island, and if you're the adventurous type, Tenerife has some great looking hiking trails. The 4 days of vacation went by quickly, and well, it's back to the airport. Tenerife Norte Airport is located in the north of the island, as the name suggests. It's a small airport that is easy to navigate. Whether you are dropped off or park a car, the primary entrance is where you'll find all of the check-in counters. I have SkyTeam Elite status, so I was able to use the Sky Priority queue even with an economy ticket. It appeared there was a family moving, as evidenced by about 15 luggage trolleys with plastic-wrapped bags. Very glad I was able to skip ahead of that group of folks. With boarding pass in hand, security was quite simple and straightforward. The airport's only lounge was scheduled to open just before 6 a.m., so of course, that's my destination. Everything in this airport seems to have been recently renovated, including this lounge. It was very clean, open, and bright inside. Because of the time constraints and the time of day, I can only assume that the windows provide some natural light, and a nav geek can only hope they also give a view of the apron.
Alrighty, well, it is a new day, new shirt, freshly showered at the airport. It's very early. Well, not that early, it's 6 a.m. local time, but we're here in one of the lounges. It's a very nice looking space, very well lit and bright. The food selection isn't the greatest, but that's all right. We're gonna take a bit of a break here, and then we'll head over to the gate to board today's aircraft.
I'd happily wait around in this lounge in the future, but right now, I needed to get to the gate. The gate was in a somewhat confusing layout. Bravo 20 and B22 were adjacent gates, and the gate agents for B20 were hidden down the hallway. The lack of visual cues to indicate when boarding began for each flight didn't help with my less than stellar Spanish to ascertain when boarding began. Once my wife pointed out that yes, our zone had been called, I reluctantly grabbed my bag and proceeded to scan my boarding pass. Eventually we made it on. The safety video was aired on the TVs that unfolded from the ceiling, and the engines began to fire up. As the tug is detached, let's go over today's flight. Today's 2.5-hour flight is operated by Echo Charlie Lima Papa Romeo, a 15-year-old 737-800, and will cover a distance of 1,101 miles. After a westward departure, we'll head north and east, entering the Spanish mainland over the state of Andalusia. Now that we're airborne, let's take a closer look at the seat. I'm in the exit row, which has ample room for those with long legs. Standard tray tables are installed on the seats, which do extend once deployed. Inside the seat back pocket, you will find the safety card and a buy on board menu.
Alright, we are airborne, and well, there's not a whole lot in terms of service when it comes to Air Europa on their, I guess, domestic as well as intra-European flights. There's a small pamphlet of food options available for purchase, and shortly after passing 10,000 feet, the crew began getting the galley carts ready, which subsequently were rolled down the aisles. There's nothing for free, so if you wanted a soft drink or water, I suppose you could ask for water, but everything else is buy on demand. In that sense, the airline does not operate like some of the other SkyTeam partners, where there are complimentary snacks and drinks regardless of the length of the flight, so just be aware of that if you end up flying Air Europa. There's not a lot to see out the window. I might try and get some shut-eye here. A few of my last flight reviews, I have mentioned how I do not intend on sleeping, but wind up falling asleep. Must be the loud white noise and the cabin pressure. Yeah. In terms of entertainment, on most of Air Europa, they actually operate an all Boeing fleet. They have the 787-8 and -9 for their long-haul routes, and then they have a handful of 737-8s, and they just began receiving 737 MAX aircraft. Onboard entertainment is limited to one's own curiosity and desire to look out the window. On their wide bodies and newer 737 MAXs that are arriving, Air Europa does have streamable content via an in-flight intranet connection. The particular aircraft that I am on, there is no in-flight entertainment. That includes any streamable content.
Les informamos que en unos minutos aterrizaremos en el aeropuerto de destino. Pongan el respaldo de su asiento en posición vertical, con el reposabrazos en posición horizontal.
We were soon over Europe proper and beginning our descent into Madrid, and I think it's a good time to talk cost. So, how much did I pay for this flight? I paid $110 for the one-way ticket from Tenerife to Madrid, which rounds up to 10 cents per mile. That price included my carry-on, one checked bag, and seat selection, and I think it's a very fair price. I checked the calendar, and you can find this exact flight for around $36 for a basic economy ticket until the end of 2025. once on the ground, it was time to hightail it over to Terminal 1. Let me warn you here if you ever plan on making connections in Madrid. If you're not willing or able to walk fast, I strongly encourage you to plan your flights to have enough time between connections. It's definitely a doable walk for most people, but there aren't any plane trains, buses, or moving walkways for a significant portion of the walk from Terminal 3 to Terminal 1. Luckily, we did have enough time to make a pit stop at the Sibelius Lounge in Terminal 1 for some fresh water and food.
All right, well, there you have it. Air Europa on a domestic flight in economy from Tenerife North to Madrid. As I said, at some point in this video, I'm going to make it short and sweet, and I'm going to stick to my word and end the video here today because I got to get on a flight over to New York with Delta, but it is in a product that you have seen several times before, so we won't go into details on that. But let me know what you think about Air Europa. What are your thoughts on the product itself as an economy class? What do you think about the total price that I paid for the round-trip ticket? And would you consider flying Air Europa in the future if you have the opportunity to visit Europe? I think I would, but that's because I'm biased towards SkyTeam. I'm gonna get over to the gate because I don't have much time to board, and until the next flight review, enjoy what you're doing in life. And as always, thanks for watching. See ya.